What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is August 14th, 2025, 3:30-ish, 3:34 in the afternoon. Market is still open, but I'm going to make this video today because, well, I didn't make one yesterday and I have time. With that said, today was a pretty damn good day. If you were able to shake the bias, or if you had a bias, which was very easy to have today, we just had to reiterate to remember to wait for the chart to give you a chance to trade your bias, okay? If you go into a day like today where we had horrible reports that tanks the market like this, like I'll show you here in a minute, like it did this morning, it's very easy to fall into that I have to play puts because it's going to keep going thing. I was very aware of that myself. I remembered all the times that I thought that was going to be the case, only to lose money on puts because the chart was going the other way. It was my obligation today was to remind people in our group not to do that. Don't fall victim to that problem. Reminded them verbally, reminded them in our SPY analysis that I type up every morning. So fortunately, it was a really good day for the majority of the people in our community, despite that sell-off in the morning. With that said, I followed my rules today. I was very, very disciplined, made two very good trades. It was an outstanding day for me personally. I'll share both those trades with you guys here in just a moment. And yeah, we found great opportunities today. So without further ado, buy my book. You know it was going there. Get the book, join the Discord so you could take part of this learning experience so that you can become a better trader also, or be able to at least spot better trading opportunities. And by the way, there's a gentleman who's here as a temporary member in our community right now. Has been trading for 10 years. 10 years. This gentleman came to our community and is deciding to become a paying member because he's still learning things in the group. Guys, this is what it's all about. So I've got people in my community that have been trading for decades. That joined and are learning new things, okay? My spin on the market is a little bit different. I'm not looking for home runs. I'm not a long-term investor. I have figured out a way to base an understanding of which way the market is likely to move based on probabilities, and that's what we're hoping for. Probabilities work out more than they don't. So that's what we do here. If you're interested in that kind of thing, join the community. But let's go ahead and get into the charts. As customarily we do, call put scenario, guys. Today, the put line was at 576.75. The call line was at 578.54. The hope was that if we can get through the call line, we'd make it up to the pink line. Not a huge move. In that particular case, it was basically a 40-cent move. That's well enough to make money. And to the downside, we were hoping for a move from 576.75 down to 576.20. So what is that, a 55-cent move? Either way, both would have been nice to take advantage of. We're not going to get into what creates the call put scenario, but just know that's where the lines were. Now, coming into the open this morning, I had reminded everybody, guys, please, despite that sell-off that we had because of the reports this morning, which were bad, please don't assume that the market's going to trend down all day. It might. We just have to be open to the idea that it might not. Good thing, because it didn't. In fact, I put my put line farther away intentionally so that it would give people less of the feeling, like the urge to take puts. Because if it was going to get from here down to there, well, then there was probably a good reason for it. Then you should be considering puts. But if it can't even get through this line of support, which a lot of people probably would have put the put line at our pre-market mid here, I intentionally moved it even farther down so that it would disincentivize, if that's even a word, trying to take puts aggressively. In fact, as we were coming into the open, I wasn't sure which way I wanted to be prepared for. In my heart of hearts, I was kind of hoping we were going to play puts. I'm not going to lie. But had to keep myself in check, was a little less aggressive to the call side, but I prepared myself mentally. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that, because I think this is what helped me today be able to play calls in a situation where I felt like I wanted to play puts. I prepared myself by saying, and again, if you're in the room, you know exactly what I'm talking about because this is exactly what I said. I expect the market can go up or down, but I do not want to take puts unless we get below the put line and ADD is moving in our favor. I'm going to assume that because of the reports and because of the fact that the market was not happy this morning, that ADD was going to open very much in the red, and it did. So as we started to move up into open, I said, I'm going to be prepared for calls. I'm expecting ADD to be printing red at open. So if we breach this line, I'm not going to take those calls. I want confluence. Today, I want confluence. If I'm going to trade against what I feel like I want to trade, then I better have a damn good reason for doing it. And today, that served me well both times. And what confluence are we looking for? A break of resistance in green ADD. That's it. That's my criteria. Now, if it's not a break of resistance, in this case, it was a pullback to what was resistance into support. Okay? Now, this is where we said, hey, putting in higher lows, ADD was printing red here, but then by the time we were looking to get into this trade, we were on our second green ADD candle. So why not calls when we breach the line? Well, because of this. Okay? I'm not aggressively going to take calls at a time that I don't feel like I should be aggressive. And I'm certainly not going to aggressively take calls in a situation like this without ADD at least telling me you're not 100% crazy. So as we moved through our call line, it made it too. So we had people play the call line. It made it right up to the pink line. They got their 40 cents and they cashed out. We pulled back. ADD starts printing green while the Qs are pulled back to support. Not one candle, but two. This was my entry. Now, initially, I was only aiming for, I actually wanted to get all the way, I didn't mean to move that. I was wanting to get all the way up to this resistance up here because that's the only resistance that exists on this chart at this moment above my entry point. Now, that's asking a lot, but look at what it did. It got there. Did I make it that long? Hell no, I didn't, because I'm a wuss. Why didn't I hold my trade longer? No other reason other than I was already uncomfortably taking calls just because I guess I had a put bias. Okay. I recognized higher lows. I recognized pullbacks to support, knowing that if we broke through that support, we were going to stop out of the trade. ADD was green. We get in. Great. Now that we've gotten through a fake resistance, in this case was my retracement lines, people who are in my group know what that is, we have to hold above that. Now, Qs did that, and I still took myself out of the trade. I took myself out up here. Qs were stalling a little bit. SPY was stalling, and ADD, and this is what got me out, started to pull back and was rotating down. So for that reason, I took myself out of the trade. Now, it did pull back an uncomfortable amount on SPY. Qs held its ground. It turned that resistance into support. It stayed as support. It continued on to the next resistance. We put in another higher low. ADD started printing green again, and right up to what we hoped we were going to get to with this entry, it went. Now, people were still holding on to that trade. I was not one of those people. As we neared the top, I said to everybody, guys, I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know what happened the last time we were up in this area. Albeit it was caused by reports. Again, this is exactly what I said, but you can't discount the fact that a whole bunch of people are short the market up there. And if they decide that they want to try and protect that position and double down on their positions, we're going to have a hard time getting through that line. Fortunately, that information right there took a lot of people out with profits, good profits, before they got this big old pullback. While we were up here, I had said to everybody, if you're looking for puts, the Jimmy trade setup, it's very easy to spot, okay? And we did, by the way, have a big pullback, obviously. We broke the trend line, So for people who didn't take profits there, that's your reason to take yourself out of the trade. And people naturally want to know, when can we take puts? I said, Jimmy trade setup. I want to get below the trend line, and then I want to get through support. Now, in this case, you had a support right here. But I said to them, with the market being not as red as I thought it was going to be, I am going to wait for a move below the Q's 579.32. And as long as ADD is moving in my favor, when that happens, I'll take the trade, and I expect it to go to our call line, which was right here. So 579.32 to 578.54. I'd been looking for that move since 9:56 this morning. Wasn't going to take it unless the criteria were met 100%, especially because I had already taken a winning trade on the day, and I didn't want to put my winnings at risk of being lost due to an aggressive trade. I'll take a trade if it looks good. I'll take a trade because I want to play puts, but it has to be right. Okay. As you can see, we came down, we tested this. Now, I did have people wanting to buy pullbacks for calls. I said, hey, this is a strong support. So if you're waiting for a pullback, yes, I know we closed on the other side of the trend line. Normally for me, that takes calls off the table, but it's a strong support. If ADD is printing green, what you're hoping for is a move back up to where we just came from. That's it. So we did have some people buy this. I would not have. I wouldn't have been comfortable enough to do it. But again, I'd already taken my trade, so an aggressive entry is not something I'm looking for at that point anymore. For my first trade of the day, I'll be aggressive as all get out because I have nothing to lose at that point that I've already earned. Key. So anyway, we pull back. Some people bought calls here. It moved up. Qs and SPY both, well, eventually the Qs made it up, but not without a pullback. SPY got very close and continued up to where you would hope it was going to get the resistance that it came from. So that was a great trade opportunity for the people with the larger ball bag, because after a pullback like that and having a put bias, that would have never been a time that I would have been comfortable enough to pull the trigger on calls. Anyway, we put in a lower high. We're coming back down. My rules, I have puts ready to go at this point because I'm waiting for us to break this line of support on the Qs. This was my whole point. I wanted to play puts, but only if this takes place. So we never crossed that line, even though ADD was printing some red candles on our way down. Patience. We don't get through it. Instead, we say, hey, if we can get through resistance here, and now ADD is aggressively moving up, we're going to look for a move to that same level that we had before. So again, we were looking, look at how many call arrows are on this chart, guys. I wasn't trying to get people into puts without good reason. Now we're going to get into our Jimmy trade setup. Okay. We had a clear trend line here. We broke the trend. Okay. We broke the uptrend right here. Okay, now we did have a support here, but there wasn't enough room from support A to support B. So we weren't looking to get in there. We did put in a lower high, and we did start trending down with ADD. So normally I would be aggressively getting into puts here, expecting support to fail and continue down to the next support. But being a little bit less aggressive, I guess you would call it, we waited for a break of this support because then we're hoping for a move down to this support. Had an alert set there and everything. ADD was doing its job, trending down at the time. And this was a go trade for several people. And they held it till we made it to the next line. When we got to that line, it tried to hold support just like it did here the last time. We pull up. What is this? That's a lower high. This looks good for puts. So the people who were still holding kept holding. The people who took their profits were already happy. We moved down off of lower highs. We're breaking support. This line right here, targeting this line right here. Had an alert set there and everything. was already prepared for the puts. ADD was already trending down. We came off our second red candle in a row, lower highs. Everything looks good to the downside. We send the order, we get in the trade, and straight down in 2.5 to 3 minutes, right to the line we were aiming for. Literally. That was a 59% win right there. This one over here was a 53, 52% win, somewhere in that range. Was a fantastic day for me and several other people. But that was my last trade of the day for me. Okay. Then we started to move up. We get another Jimmy trade setup. Now, what's funny about this one is that I was looking for this for everybody else because we just had a good one over here that would have paid massively. By the way, if you're out there, my guy, the guy I was just telling you about, the 10-year guy, he took this trade all the way up here, played it all the way down here, over 100% return. Good for you, brother. Now, we break the trend line. We have support right here. Where are we expecting it to go? Next support, right there. If we get through that, we're still looking for that original put line, or call line, sorry, the white one right here. We close below the trend line. We take out support. We mosey on down to the first support here, which was the pink line. Then you had a support right here. Then you had the white line. So as we move through these levels, each one that we close below, the one we close below has to stay resistant, and you hope it moves down to the next one. Eventually, that pattern is going to stop. So we called this out. Literally was the last trade I was there for. I stayed here trying to get people to the pink line, which it got. So I actually got off the microphone at 12:11, and then it continued to fall just a couple more cents down to the final target. And then that was it for me for the day as far as trying to help people. Had a beautiful move back to the upside. I want to show you guys what that looks like because people keep trading even though I'm off the mic, which is up to them. Higher lows. ADD rotates up. This is a great opportunity to start considering calls. Okay. And now we're flattening out a bit. It's way too dangerous to trade this late in the day, in my opinion. I know people feel like they want to trade because contracts get cheaper, and you do get some pretty violent moves late in the day. But I'm here to tell you, you can have a dollar move happen in a 3-minute window, and if you get a 30-cent pullback during the anytime between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, whatever you made with that dollar move is gone. Okay, so just be aware of that. If you're going to play same-day expirations, the later in the day you go, the much more painful those pullbacks become. Okay, it's exactly why I don't trade after 12 o'clock. It's not because I don't want to work later. It's just because in the future, I want to work less while making enough money to live, which is why I like to trade one and done or early in the morning. But the theta thing is a problem. Now, if you're a futures trader, which we have a ton of in our community, you could trade all day long. This methodology works for futures, for stocks, for options, whatever it is that you want to do. Just be aware that futures and options are different for obvious reasons. Okay, with that, we're going to wrap it up. Hope you found some useful information in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like, join my Discord community. Well, I would love to have you. Give me an opportunity. Give me a chance to teach you something you might not already know. If you don't have any reason to be there, or you're not interested in learning something you may not know, or you know everything about trading already, there's no point in joining my community. But take advantage of the free week. It costs you nothing. If it's not for you, thanks for stopping by. If it is for you, consider becoming a paying member. Stay as long as you'd like. Also, buy my book. All the stuff we talk about in these videos is covered in this book right here with charting sessions and everything pre-recorded for your convenience if you do buy the book. And yeah, that's it. Hope you all had a fantastic day. Till tomorrow. I love you guys. See you.